Hi, this is Mark from Altcoin Buzz. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin today as we start kind of wrapping up the week a little bit and look at targets that we may be getting into even as soon as the weekend, if not next week. Let's take a look at the charts. All right, let's start off on the Bitcoin USD 4-hour chart, and there's a couple things going on here. First of all, the black lines that are running across horizontally are just some support and resistance areas. The boxes are range of support and resistance areas that we are in right now. We are in this range where we found resistance at the top and we have found support back here at the bottom. A couple of things I want to point out right now is it does look like we have what might be a descending wedge. Now, a descending wedge is typically a bullish pattern. But as I get into the chart a little bit further, you're going to see that I'm a little more bearish than I am bullish at this point in time. So while this is a bullish pattern, if we break out of this, potentially do a nice move back up to the $11,000 range and then come back and find some support back here at the top of the box or in this range, then I would become more bullish. Now, to really convince me, we would need to get above this high node, well, it's kind of a medium volume node at about $11,000. 10.8 really for me to become more bullish. We haven't seen really a higher high here. We had a double top, so we haven't seen a higher high form since the beginning of this month, and our point of control on the VPVR is at $8,700. Now that's an important area because I'm going to be talking about that $8,700 range right in here, this area that we can see in this red box. Now we're going to pull up the Ichimoku cloud. That's this red and green cloud that you see here. It's added some moving averages in. I'll just go ahead and pull off these two lines here to try and clear it up a little bit for you. And this is the first time that we've been significantly below the cloud since this whole move up. You can see that we stayed above the cloud, and here we came and touched the bottom and found support at the bottom of the cloud here and then continued to ride it up. Now we've broken through and it looks as if we're starting to find resistance at the bottom of the cloud. Again, a bearish sign. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Ichimoku cloud, this is a very good first indicator to use. Once you get used to it, you can study. There's lots of YouTube videos on how to use it. There's basically moving averages in here that are existent, and we're going to look at those in just a minute on the higher time frames, this blue and red moving average it's running through. You've got a projection cloud, that's this cloud that's out here, that are based upon moving averages as well, but using a different formula to project forward. So that's what you have going on there. Now, there have been some people that are talking about a potential ascending triangle forming in this area. And I guess I could see that. The problem that I have with this ascending triangle and people determining that that is a bullish ascending triangle is really an ascending triangle is a continuation pattern. So since we're in a bearish trend, I'm going to assume that there's a higher probability of this breaking to the downside than to the upside. So we're on the 12-hour right now, and I'm going to pull up some moving averages here. Now, this is the VAMP projected or forecast 6 moving average indicator that he's put together that I believe it is free on TradingView. So that's VAMP 6MA forecast, and also a very good chartist and goes through a number of different indicators. There's been indicators that I've found from him that I've tried. I don't necessarily use them. It just didn't work for me. But his approach is very thorough, so it tends to be lengthy. But if you can spend the time, you will learn a lot from him. So look up Chart Vampire. I think you'll learn a whole lot. I don't have enough time in our videos to get through the detail that he does, so I'd recommend checking him out. So this is his indicator, and one of the things that he's added in here is 128 exponential moving average. That would be the green exponential moving average here, which is a moving average that a lot of people don't use. And it is, you can see we're finding support on it right now, and we found it back here. It tends to be a very accurate moving average versus maybe the 100 or some of the other traditional ones, which is in here as well. That's this gray moving average. And what's significant right now in my mind is on the 50, we had support pretty much the whole way up here. We pierced through it back here a little bit, but basically found support on it all the way up until this point now. And now we're not only not finding support on that, we've broken through the 100 EMA and we're sitting at that 128. We really need to kind of maintain support there, because if not, then what's the possibility of dropping down to the 200 EMA, which is this blue line that we see here? Well, pretty high in my opinion, because we also have a support box that we'd be looking for in this area as well, right? This prior kind of resistance that we had right around $8,700 down to about $8,600. That lines up We're not going to go look at it again today, but that lines up very well with the CME futures gap that we have not filled yet. And then if we really zoom out and go into the weekly, which is a lot more information, right? And we get all excited on those 5-6% bumps up and thinking that we're going to get back out of this kind of bear trend that we've been in for about a month or so. And this helps us to get things in perspective. Now, we have broken through the top of that cloud, not significantly on the weekly, but we have broken through the top of the Ichimoku cloud. If we just played to support on the weekly chart from an Ichimoku standpoint, we'd find that support again back in this $8,600, $8,700 range. CME futures gap is in there. Find support there and then come back up potentially. Break through there, or look for support on the 21 period moving average. This is the weekly moving average at 21 at about 8,000. The other thing that has me bearish is we had talked about the stochastic RSI crossing over to the negative and how that provided us with some pretty large dumps back in here in February is when we were talking about that. And you can see that we had that crossover, right, significantly. The last time we had it is when we had all these significant moves down. Additionally, on the NVT, this is an indicator specifically for Bitcoin. It merges data from the blockchain transactions that are happening along with volume. So it's been designed to give you kind of a perspective on what's going on from an activity standpoint on the blockchain and the volume that's going into the market. There would be plenty of room. We've broken through the moving average. There'd be plenty of room to go down to support if we use this horizontal support line as our support area. On this indicator, 150 is overbought. We're still in there right now under the trend line, and 45 is the oversold, which we are a far cry away from. Because the horizontal support is right in this area, we've actually broken through. So we'd have to have an uptick here, a very strong uptick in the next 5 to 7 days for that to get back above what could now become a resistance line for us as we've broken through this moving average. So if we use the horizontal, this lower support line, as a potential target, there's plenty of room to still move down on the weekly. So to me, a lot more bearish indications than there are bullish. There are some other momentum pieces, if you put them together, to say that we are going to have a pretty volatile move here in the next couple days. That could happen here tomorrow. That could happen over the weekend, or maybe it takes place the beginning of next week. But we are compressing. We're starting to compress here to get a volatile move. And to me, the look is more to the downside on that volatile move than to the upside. So here's the other thing that the other reason that I'm pretty bearish. Unless Tether steps in, I think we continue to the downside. They haven't really printed anything of significance in about a week. Do they come back and reprop up this market, or are they in a distribution cycle right now? Hard to say. Now, please remember, I'm not a financial advisor, okay? I do this trading for myself, and I share with you my perspective so that hopefully you can learn from it. You go check out some other TA folks like Chart Vampire, and you get a perspective, a strategy on your own. You get comfortable enough with making your own decisions. Don't go off by what I say, by what any other TA person says. Really, you should use this TA to start learning how to do it on your own. So that's going to wrap it up for today. Hey, I hope this was helpful for you. Don't forget to follow me on crypto_old so that when I get to TA during the week, you can catch it there. In between these videos, also catch us on Altcoin Buzz IO. Also like and subscribe here so that you can catch these videos along with some great videos that Maddie's doing on summary of the news throughout the week and Billy's doing on some special features. Until next time, may all your trades be good ones.